to tell us where they are from so that we get to know them. But I'm going to go straight away to invite Alice. Alice is going to open for us, and she's going to hand us over to our host. Our host is in South Africa, and then we're gonna invite our moderator today, and we get started. So Ambassador Alice Kamunge is the president of World Women Leading Change Africa. She's also the founder of Miss Tourism Kenya and Vera Beauty College. Mrs. Alice Kamunge, welcome, and start us off.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night, because I know the whole world is listening, the whole world is attending our conference today. It's a great honor for us to be here today, and we welcome you, all of you, to this wonderful forum, the most interactive women forum in the world. World Leadership Conference, that's what it is. And this is a forum born out of a great movement called World Women Leading Change. This is a forum we are so fond of, we are so proud of, because it was initiated by a great warrior of entrepreneurship. And those of you who are entrepreneurs, you'll understand when we say she's a great warrior, because to be an entrepreneur, it's not about learning in school. There's nothing learning in school to be an entrepreneur. You have to be an entrepreneur, and then you go to school to be sharpened in the brain so that you become a better entrepreneur. But this is a wonderful entrepreneur who has really, we initiated this forum of World Women Leading Change, and assisted by a great friend, a very close friend of us. The forum is initiated by this warrior called Dr. Ayla from Indonesia. And Dr. Ayla is the one who started the World Leadership Conference and World Women Leading Change. But she's very closely together. They work together with a great woman from Vietnam called Helen. Helen, we salute you, because it's because of you that we are here, because of Dr. Ayla that we are here, because both of you initiated leadership, which has brought women together, which has brought leaders together, and will forever be grateful to you. This forum, these two women are powerhouse. And I say powerhouse because following their footsteps, and together with they brought together other great women and great men of this world, and together they formed this organization. And we can't forget to mention people like Dr. Rupa from India, Mrs. Carlos from Philippines, Carol Vakaik from USA, mentioning but a few of great women who partnered with Dr. Ayla to form World Leadership Conference. And World Leadership Conference, we are so proud of it because within about four or 5 weeks, we have been able to meet to reach 20,000 people, and we are still counting. We have been able to open 6 centers, and the members, for those ones who are members, and I know even the ones who are not members, you'll join very soon. You'll understand that the world is power. Women are power, and women, when they come together, we can make this world a great world. And already within 4 weeks, we have been able to open 6 centers and distributed all over the world. And we are very proud, Africa, to say that on Saturday, this coming Saturday, we are going to be opening the 7th one. And the 7th one will be more interactive with young people, because it is World Women Leading Change Creative Arts Hub. And this one will be starting from Kenya, and it will move to all parts of the world. And we'll be very, very proud to let you know more about it. I know our president, Dr. Ayla, will be talking about more other centers which are spread all over the world. And we'll be very proud to say that you can plug into any of those centers. Today, we are here for only three reasons. We want to see Africa grow, because I'm saying Africa because this is this program is hosted by South Africa. So we are in Africa. And I'm very happy to see so many ladies and gentlemen having joined. And I know after we move from here, we are going to make Africa great together. We want to support women to be great mothers and great leaders. Africa needs women to arise. And we want women to arise from our children to our young people, to all women. We must arise and be counted, that we must arise and say, Africa, we are ripe now and we need to be counted as part of entrepreneurs in the world. We want to network with the rest of the world and see our businesses grow and thrive. To achieve all this and more, we must start this conversation as sensitive as it may be. We must start uprooting that monster. We must start uprooting from the roots the monster of domestic violence. It's like a cancer which destroys the victims silently. We must uproot it before it gains control over our families, our businesses, our loved ones, and everyone, and even our psychological life. It has taken the precious lives of our women, our men, our children, both girls and boys. Everybody has suffered. This monster has not spared anyone. And that's why today we are here to discuss about domestic violence and to add our voices to the rest of the world who have come up to say enough is enough with domestic violence, and we must stop it. We must be a family. We must be one person. Our fathers are important. Our sons are important. Our girls, our daughters are important. Everyone is important, and we must have love. As this program of women leadership, leading change, One Women Leading Change, correctly says that we are love. We want to instill peace. We want to have love. We want to have love for each other. So this monster must leave our midst. Today, we have great women of courage, our speakers today, and they'll be discussing with us this very, very sensitive topic, domestic violence. Let us all listen to them, and I know they have great ones of wisdom for us, and together we are going to make this world a change. World Women Leading Change, we want to bring the change you all want to see in the world. No one wants to see violence. So if we don't want to see violence, let us all advocate for happy families, peaceful environment, and together we'll be a happy world. Thank you so much, Joy. Back to you. Joy?
Joy, you're on mute.
Yeah, thank you so much, Ambassador Alice, and the President for WWLC Africa. Before you go, I would like you to also introduce us and invite Ambassador Debbie from South Africa. And she also has a song to start us off and also invite us to South Africa. Thank you. Did anyone hear me? Can you hear me?
Good morning.
Okay. Yes, we can hear you.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning from South Africa.
Good morning, Debbie.
My name is Debbie Dineo Raputi. I'm a representative of World Women Leading Change in South Africa. You are welcome to be part of this important topic. And I just wanted to tell you that I'm wearing green, the green which symbolizes the hope and the aspiration and the unity of Africa. As we were celebrating the Africa Day on the 25th of May, that is the reason I can see even Ambassador Alice is having something green. I forgot to tell you guys that let's wear green as a symbol of hope, as a symbol of aspiration. However, I'm going to sing a song. I will stay away from the video. We are women, World Women Leading Change. Let me introduce the song. We are, I'm going to, the person who's singing the song is Wija from Zambia. She's a very young, talented girl. Her name is Wija. So I requested her, I composed the song myself. However, we are going to listen to the song, all of us.
We are the women leading change.
Can you hear?
We are the
women leading change, leading change.
We
are the women leading change, leading change. Can we sing? The women leading change for our people, for our countries, for everyone in the world. Love, peace, in the world. Endurance needed in this world. Forgiveness needed in this world. Needed in this world. Yes,
African woman
leading change.
Antarctican woman
leading change.
Yes, Asia woman leading change. Yes, Australia woman leading change. Yes, Europe woman leading change. Yes, North America. Yes, South America. Woman.
Kalirato fella, women leading change. Kalitabo fella.
No pella, Gotando pella. Woman leading change. Yes, Indonesia. Yes, Ayla. Yes, Ayla. Woman leading change. Yes, Indonesia. We thank you, World Woman Leading Change.
Thank you. Thank you, World Women Leading Change. We really want to thank you for listening to the song. I composed the song. I asked Wija from Zambia to refine it as she got a good voice. I thank you. Thank you very much. Today, the topic is domestic violence. And domestic violence is in our home. We see it every day. We watch it. And just want to pose a question to you, Ayla, wherever you are, Ambassador Ayla and Ambassador Alice, to say that the power of the media, I think we should also have the topic of the power of the media, because this violence, we see it every day in our life. The topic of the Africa Day, it was silencing the gun. Silencing the gun is about peace. And we also, as the South African women, we have posed a question to say that let's talk about domestic violence, because we experience this violence every day. And violence is not between a woman and a man. Violence, it can be also in the group, in the home, how we communicate, how we embrace one another, how we say things. Sometimes we also violate other people's, how we interact with. So today, domestic violence is a scourge. And I'm going to hand over to my ambassador, young one, Ambassador Joyce, to take us further. Thank you very much.
Wow, thank you so much. Amazing, amazing Ambassador Debbie. You are just one amazing woman, and I like what you're doing in South Africa and in Africa as a whole. So thank you so much for joining us today and for this song. That was an amazing, amazing song. And thank you so much for also connecting us to all these amazing, wonderful women in South Africa. So right about now, I'm going to hand over to our moderator for the day. She's an amazing lady from Kenya. She's a founder and senior partner of Seven Stone Investment Management Limited. She is also the founder of 254 Youth Entrepreneurship Awards and Mentorship Program Venture Capital. She's also a venture capitalist and wealth and portfolio manager. And that is none other than Lois Moirore. Thank you so much for being our moderator today. So you can take the stage now.
I can unmute. Hi, can everybody hear me?
Yes.
All of you can hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. I know there's someone who's having a connection problem. I hope you're all able to hear her.
All right. Thank you so much, Joyce. I have to say I was so humbled when I was requested to be the moderator for today. This is a very sensitive topic when it comes to women, because we thought being at our homes, it's a safe haven. Running away from coronavirus, you get into your home and then there it is, this monster called domestic violence. It's good to see that women who believe in changing the world. I also love the song because they say it's women leading change, and truly we should be on the forefront when it comes to fighting against domestic violence, because these are our mothers, these are our sisters, these are our daughters. They're our daughters, and it's a very sensitive topic, but it needs to be addressed. But before I don't know whether everybody can see, I can see a lot of people saying still they're having a little bit of time, a hard time logging in, but I think we should continue. And the ground rules for today, we only assign 5 minutes to all our speakers, and we do hope that you're well prepared to give a presentation for 5 minutes as we also address this monster that is domestic violence. So I'll go straight to it. And we invite our first speaker. If you allow me, Ambassador, this is Ambassador, I hope I say it correctly. This is Keketso Maema from South Africa. She's the Ambassador of Social Justice and Peace, a specialist of gender-based violence. So we are in very good hands today. Human rights activist and CEO Commission of Gender Equality. So Karibu Sanada, we say welcome, Ambassador Keketso Maema. Over to you.
Thank you very much, moderator, and thank you for inviting us, Ambassador Debbie. Can everybody hear me? Can you hear me?
Yes,
we can hear you. I'd like to urge people to mute so that we can give Keketso Maema an opportunity to speak to us today. Go ahead, yes. Maema.
Thank you very much. As it has already been indicated, I work for the Commission for Gender Equality here in South Africa. And the Commission is an institution that has been set up by our Constitution to ensure that we deal with issues around gender equality holistically in the country. We have powers to subpoena and to hold both the public sector and the private sector to account on all issues that affect gender equality. And of course, as we know, right at the heart of gender equality matters, is issues around gender discrimination, issues around gender-based violence, and of course, the topic that we are dealing with today, which is domestic violence. And I think, as it has already been indicated, domestic violence has, a pattern. It's abusive behavior that kind of transgresses the right of people to be free from violence. And whenever a partner in a relationship harms the other to obtain or maintain power and control over them, regardless of whether you are married, you are unmarried, you are living together, or you are apart, that transgression or that harm in order to exert power over somebody would be a domestic violence. And of course, we know that harm can take variety of forms, whether it's verbal abuse, shouting, emotional abuse, manipulation, control and or humiliation, physical abuse in the sense of hitting someone or punching, or even sexual abuse. We have things like rape, inappropriate touching of either women, children, our elderly, and of course, here in South Africa, because we recognize issues around sexual orientation, LGBTIQA+ communities as well, as a way of hate speech. And as an institution, part of the work that we do is to receive complaints and be able to investigate some of these complaints. Where appropriate, we take these particular complaints to courts, and we are able to then deal with some of these issues. And I do think as a starting point, it's important, and I hope that we will utilize this particular platform that has been created for us in Africa to kind of have bodies such as ours. I know that there are quite a number of countries that have been following through, like South Africa. We know in Kenya, I have an MOU, for instance, with the Kenya Gender Equality Commission at that side. We know Zimbabwe has followed through. We have Zambia had put it in their own constitution, but I don't think as yet they have started. But I think it's important that we actually ensure that in all our countries we have bodies such as the Commission for Gender Equality, because it is a body that will assist us to be able to do quite a number of things. We report directly to Parliament, and so we are able to put before Parliament the issues and the problems that we see on the ground. On issues of gender-based violence, on issues of domestic violence, we are able to always go to Parliament to try and tighten the legislation and some of the processes that are there. We are able to inform Parliament to indicate when some of the obligations and the policies that have been put in place are actually not working for women. And today, one of the things that I wanted to sort of look into, we always think that, having courts in place will assist. And we do recognize, for instance, that access to courts, it's a fundamental human right. And it is recognized and underpinned by a lot of human rights treaties that most of our countries are part of. And but we do see that we have issues of access to justice, especially for women in the rural areas, for them to be able to deal with these issues of partner violence. When you are living in poverty, in particularly those with little formal education, when the right to access to courts becomes really an illusion. And there are high legal costs and the like. There are rigid procedures that are there in some of these courts. So it is quite important that we have bodies out there that are able to then look into some of the matters and some of the cases that come through. South Africa, as all of us know, has one of the highest incidents of gender-based violence, which is why our president really took this call forward and ensured that he comes up with a process, a conference that will take and listen to the women to say what it is that is needed on the ground to be able to do away with the scourge. And sadly, domestic violence is still common and widespread human abuse that we have, human rights abuse that we have here in South Africa. Every day, women are murdered physically and sexually assaulted. They are threatened, they are humiliated. Yesterday, we had to go and rush to one of the areas in Pretoria, in Soshanguve, where we have a father. You know, we have people in our society that are supposed to take care of our kids. And sadly, those are some of the people that are actually violating our kids. We had a father that has been sexually abusing the daughters. The mother had to run away because of issue of domestic violence. And we have now these kids that this man is busy sexually molesting day in, day out. And which is why it's also important that we mobilize communities. And I like this particular platform that we have, because we need to have quite a number of platforms that will be able to enable us to reach into our communities, to know and be in a position to highlight when there are problems and issues that we think are coming out that are problematic or not proper. And so part of what we would do in a situation like that, we will then engage with social development to ensure that we get social workers in place, but also to get police in the picture. A lot of times we are aware that when people take their cases to the police services, these workers are also, by the way, shaped by the same society that shapes us, the same society that is actually patriarchal. And so you go to a police station, you find people that are not doing what they're supposed to be doing. When it's a domestic violence matter, they tell you, you know, it's an issue of the home. You know, you can just go back and talk it out at home. And this is what our women are going through out there. And so when you have institutions like ourselves, we ensure that we monitor processes from the time that we are made aware of a particular matter. We engage with the police. Whether a matter is in court, we sit there in court, we highlight to the magistrate that is sitting there that you must be aware that we are here to monitor you and monitor the processes that you are going to be undertaking. And we have seen quite a number of results on this. We had, for instance, a case in Hammanskraal where a woman was beaten by the husband and left to die by the street side, but luckily he never died. And it took 7 years, you know, for that particular matter to actually be finalized. 7 years when we got hold of the matter within, you know, a matter of 6 months, that matter was actually dealt with and that man was put behind must be able to have engagements with our society, because quite a number of times you see women being so pressured that they also take their matters out of the court systems. They also take their matters out and they come and they say, you know, I no longer want to press charges and the like, and matters are withdrawn and it becomes a problem. And so we need to educate our women so that they understand their rights, but also to educate society and communities, because communities, a lot of times it's them that also put the pressure. I will be, as a woman, putting pressure on my daughter-in-law to say, go and take out that matter from that court. You are embarrassing the family and all that. And so there needs to be a concerted effort with the work that we are all doing to ensure that people are made aware of their rights. When I take a perpetrator to the courts, it's not that I want to spoil that person's future, but the person must be able to account for what they have done to me. We all are here. There are laws that are all supposed to protect us, and some of these things are not happening. And it's important that we, in our communities, we strive to have solid relationships with police. That's one of the things that we are pushing here, to ensure that we have solid relationship with South African police and the courts. If those particular processes are strengthened, then we know that matters will be properly investigated, and so the courts will be able to then put these people away that are or behind bars that are doing these kind of atrocities to our women, to our girl child, but also to our other LGBTIQA plus communities people. There must be proper systems in place to ensure that domestic violence matters are really attended to in these courts, in the police station and the like. And really, in the nutshell, that's the work that we do.
Ambassador Mayama,
Yes,
because of time, I know we're very passionate about this subject as women. And what is exciting me is because I can see the passion that you have being on the forefront in fighting domestic violence. And I can see that South Africa is very well represented, that you're on the forefront fighting this. You know, if you had a presentation, I'd really like if you'd share with us that, so that at least we can also be able to distribute this material and your presentation to the women, to the great women here. Unfortunately, because of time, I may have to cut you short so that we can give the other speaker time to also take us through her presentation. But thanks so much for what you're doing in South Africa. Really, we hear what you're saying. It is sad to know that the men that we run to, and especially during this global lockdown, are the ones who are abusing us as women. And it's globally, it is now another pandemic actually that we are fighting. And we thank God that we have you on our corner and fighting with us. But next, I'd like to, I don't know whether we all can be able to hear. Are we still, is everyone in, Joyce? Joyce, you can hear me?
Yes, Lois, I can hear you, and everyone is in. Okay, Lois, just a request, Lois.
Yes, dear.
We have Annette who is about to leave for another meeting.
Annette.
If you could kindly, yes, Annette. If you could call her next, so that we are able to excuse her.
Okay. This. All right. Annette Kasselman. I hope I've I done it? All right. Annette Kasselman is from South Africa. They were very well represented. She was Miss South Africa World. So I'd like to give the floor to you, Miss Annette. I cannot see you. I would love to see your beautiful face as well.
Okay. Can I say something?
Yes.
I'm sorry.
Annette,
yes,
Annette, there you are.
I think, Ambassador, because of the time constraint, if she can introduce herself and to know her, and then at the next meeting, she will be able to address us. I thank you.
Which ambassador? We have the...
Annette, the one who's going for a meeting. I'm sorry?
Okay.
Yes,
Annette.
because of her, we really wanted to hear that she must also hear every other woman who will be listening. However, can she introduce herself? And then after then, she can leave for the meeting. I thank you.
Correct. Annette, the floor is yours.
Thank you.
Let's try and keep it to 5 minutes.
Yes, I've actually, I can stay a little bit longer, so I can go through my presentation if you like that. Good morning. My name is Annette Kasselman. I'm a former Mrs. South Africa, and I represented South Africa on the world stage in Russia, as well as in America, in USA, California, where I brought home the Mrs. Worldwide title, I'm sorry. And yeah, my friend Caroline Verkijk was the one who invited me to this forum, and I'll forever be grateful for her. And yes, I was looking forward to hearing all you ladies speak, and I'm so glad to see there are a great representation from South Africa. Ambassadors, very nice to meet you, and please keep up the good work that you are doing, and we take our hats off to you. So yes, what is femicide? According to Stats South Africa, it is the intentional killing of females, women and girls, just because they are females. We all know the rate of femicide in South Africa is 5 times that of Europe. It says that every 3 hours a woman is killed in South Africa. You're not safe walking down the street in broad daylight. But worst of all, you're not even safe in your own home, because half the women are killed by partners in close relationships. So we as women agree that the state should oppose bail and parole for perpetrators of rape and murder against women and children. And again, I respect these ladies on the forefront trying to fight our battles for us and absolutely gaining step by step the place that we would like to be. There was a doctor in Pelanomi Hospital not too long ago. Pelanomi is a state hospital, very large hospital. She was hit over her head with a brick and she was raped on the premises while trying to help other people. In South Africa, women took to Twitter with a hashtag, "Am I next?" after a young student was raped in Cape Town, raped and killed. The violence is terrible against women and children. But I think that comes back to us as a mother, raising your boy child to respect females. Prevention starts at home, teaching your boy child from a young age, especially single parents. They've got to respect women. They've got to treat us well. They've got to talk to us in a nice way. So have we. Yes, we've also got to do that. But no violence is always brought upon yourself. Today, I would just like to address the support as well that we should give victims. You know, we so often hear about someone near us, and that can be so painful and scary, but we might not know what to do. It might even feel like there's nothing you can do. Sure, you have sensible advice if you are asked for it. That's the most important part. And the first point I'd like to say, we should listen. Maya Angelou said, there's nothing greater agony than bearing an untold story inside of you. It's burning up. Sorry, ladies, I just want to put my battery.
Hello? I think it's Luis. I think it's fine now.
Yeah. Sorry for that. My battery is about to die. So yes, Maya Angelou said there's no greater agony than bearing an untold story.
Hi, and because I know, like we kept saying.
Yeah.
Hello. Our time today is a little bit restricted. We were given a 1 hour to be able to do the presentation. I know everybody is very passionate, but I think what we take from what you've given us is using social media to actually call out, name and shame these perpetrators of domestic violence. And I think women are very good when it comes to using the platform to actually sensitize people around this topic. If you allow us, if you have, I can see that you had prepared for a presentation. You can share that with Joyce, and she can share with women. But we'd urge you to stay so that at least we can discuss this and expound on this topic of domestic violence. I'd like to quickly go back now to the other speakers. I can see my Emma is the list. well, give me a minute. I have lost the list of my people. So, oh, we have Moses Onyango. Now, before we go to Ambassador Moses Onyango, we have Ambassador, this name, but I hope I say Tinswalo Maluke. Is she with us? Tinswalo Maluke, is she here with us today?
Hello?
Tinswalo? Ambassador, how are you? You can hear
Fine,
us?
and you?
We are
Yeah,
very
can you
well,
hear
thank
me?
you. We can hear you. We could have loved to see your pretty face as well, but it's all right.
No. How do I do it? The face.
Okay. There's a small video kind of icon somewhere, but it's okay. I'll still, you can still continue this way. Ambassador Tinswalo.
Okay. Do you hear me?
There you go. There you go. Well done.
Okay.
Welcome. In Swahili, we say karibu. So I'd love to really request you to keep it to 5 minutes. I know you're also very passionate about domestic violence.
Okay, good morning,
I know you
Ambassador.
can do it.
Okay.
Yes.
Good morning, ambassadors. It's going to be less than 5 minutes because a lot of things have been covered. Domestic violence, as they have indicated, it's like coronavirus, but it is unstoppable. We can stop it if we raise our children in a manner that they're equals in a household. Because traditionally, boys have been raised as masculine, that the bosses in the house. Everything, when it comes to boys, they're given everything because traditionally they're supposed to be raised. The generation is not going to break if you give birth to a boy. So they will be nice in that way, but inside they bottled out. The manner in which we raise them as tough, and also domestic violence happens to even to boys, because sometimes these boys are sodomized, and the way we raise them, they're unable to tell us that they've been sodomized, maybe by somebody inside the house, and they bottle out because they're told to be tough men, and when they silence, the anger live with them inside. So the manner in which we raise them, it is so much important. We must also teach them to be outspoken, because if they are not outspoken, that's why they end up being perpetrators of violence, some of them, because they're unable to articulate what is eating them inside psychologically and spiritually. So we need to pray for all these ills that we're facing as countries. And this is the correct platform to talk about these issues. And this platform should not be the last to talk about the issues. So I decided to touch on boys, raising a boy child, the same as the girl. Teach them to sweep, teach them to wash dishes at home, teach them to take care of each other at home, not only as staff, but as human beings that are able to hear and listen and also protect each other. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Ambassador Tinswalo. I hope I'm pronouncing your name right. She is a peace. Yes. She's a peace activist, a gender activist, a human rights activist, and environment affair activist. I can see. I was wondering whether we should touch about the boy child because it's a women's forum. But I'm happy that you have done it. It's true. If we do not train them to actually articulate and come out and say, this is what has happened to me, they'll also now turn out to be the ones who are actually now abusing women. It's good that you have touched on that topic. It's very sensitive, and you're right. We should have more of these kinds of forums. Just in the name of, in the sense of timekeeping, I can see Moses Onyango, Ambassador Moses Onyango is also waiting. Karibu sana. I'm happy to see, you know, one of our strong men amongst us. Ambassador Moses Onyango is from Kenya and South Africa as well. I don't know whether he's in Kenya or in South Africa right now. He's a lecturer and international relations director at Institute for Policy, Public and International Affairs. Mr. Onyango, karibu sana. The floor is yours. Ambassador Onyango? Can you hear me? You're still on mute, sir.
Can you hear me now?
There we go. Yes, we can hear you.
Thank you very much, moderator, and I'm very happy to be part of this particular forum that is discussing a very important topic with regard to domestic violence. Now, I'm going to talk about, the previous speakers have actually touched on everything, but I'm going to speak about three concepts that are used to actually combat or deal with domestic violence. And the three concepts or approaches or conflict resolution mechanisms are arbitration, and then mediation and conciliation. And basically my argument is that although we put more emphasis on arbitration, we face many challenges. So we need to also look at other approaches like mediation and conciliation. So basically, to begin with, you find that many countries have actually legislated laws to deal with domestic violence. For example, the previous speaker spoke about South Africa, which has the act that was passed in 1998 on domestic violence. And Kenya in particular has an act that was passed in 2015 on domestic violence, and India in 2005, and of course enforced in 2006. So basically you find that many countries have these particular institutionalized legislations that are put in place to fight domestic violence. The problem is that there are quite a number of challenges that are quite common to many countries. Basically, we find that we have institutional weaknesses whereby many of these particular cases, when they're taken to courts of law or when they are reported to the police, most of the time, because we come from patriarchal societies, these particular cases don't go through. Therefore, I think that we also need to look at other institution or frameworks like the mediation processes that are in place, like our religious institutions or traditional institutions. However, we find that religion itself also has a problem because not all members are actually religious. So when you find that when you're faced with domestic violence, not everybody would go to a religious counselor to counsel them. And then the other avenue in terms of mediation would actually be to rely on traditional mechanisms. And again, we find that with that particular mechanism, there's a problem because elders do not actually solve the problems the way it should be solved. So basically, I find that conciliation processes would give us a better approach to to deal with domestic violence. And in terms of these particular mechanisms that are in place need more force enforcement from the worldwide society for them to be active. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Ambassador Onyango. We're so honored to have you in our midst and to discuss about I do know that, you know, when you're working with reconciliation and you also work with individual concerns, because working sometimes, especially in Africa, a lot of our men do not believe that they can be sat down so that to discuss when it comes to their homes, like you're invading their space and talking to them about, you know, domestic violence. But it is good to know that you're on the forefront as well, fighting and working with these men. So because of time, again, I don't know whether Susan is around. Hello, Senan Kanana, sorry, Senan Kanana. Is she with us?
Yes, I'm here.
Senan?
Yes, I'm here. Can you all hear me?
Senan, we cannot hear you, Senan.
Can you hear
Senan?
me now?
There you are, Senan. How are you?
Okay, I'm good. I think my earphones
yeah.
Problem, yeah.
All right, Senan. Just to remind you, just 5 minutes for your presentation. I'd like to introduce
Yes,
Senan
so
Kanana from Kenya. She's the founder of...
I can't hear you.
Senan, you're freezing.
Yes.
Senan is the founder of founded Kada Women Magazine. That's correct. Women Magazine. She's a marketer and a PR professional. She's from Kenya, and we are very excited to have her with us today. Senan, can you take over?
Okay, thank you very much for that introduction. I am super glad to be in this forum, and because of time, I will delve straight to what I had in mind today. So today being Menstrual Day or Menstrual Hygiene Day, I wanted to merge my presentation on domestic violence and or menstruation. So I did some little bit of research, and menstruation and domestic violence. Because of menstruation, women are moody, some are sickly. Did I hang? Did I hang, or I'm still on?
You're having a little bit of problems with your network.
Yeah. I don't know. Am I clear now?
Yes, kindly proceed.
Okay, yeah. So I was saying most women, when going through their menstruation period, during those few days, they're usually very moody, and some are sickly, some are even bedridden, like we had some in high school. And so you find the partner is not understanding, and this causes a problem when, for example, they want to have sex, and since they have not had a conversation on what should be done at this point in time, you find that women get to suffer because they are either raped, or they are either the husband says, then we can use other means if you feel that this is too dirty, and it brings a problem and it causes domestic violence. Also, when women are not able, like maybe you've messed up your beddings and you've messed up your seat. Some women are chased away from home, we've seen, because they cannot wash or cook or even take care of the home. So you can imagine if a little bit of blood is found maybe on the beddings or on the seats, then it becomes a problem. So for me, this is domestic violence, and it can be caused because of this. And you find even some men now, to torture you and make you feel bad, they would insert even very uncouth things, and it's really terrible like that. And this affects even more, it's on the rise in slums, and these people who are facing poverty, period poverty. So it's really a major issue that we can delve on. I have a small article, maybe I can share with you as well, to share with the others because of time. For me, the statistic of 1 in every 3 women has faced domestic violence, for me it was a theory. But then when I was in my 3rd year, I faced this from a very jealous boyfriend. And this is a story for another day. It bait me and my 8 friends.
So I will share that later, because domestic violence happens to everyone. 1 in 3 has faced it, I'm sure, even amongst ourselves. So thank you for listening to me, and I wish you a beautiful Menstrual Hygiene Day.
Thank you, Senan Kanana. Thank you for that and for observing time as well. We're going to get right into with the next speaker, Ambassador Emmeline Moharakaye. Is she with us from Burundi? Joyce, is Ambassador Emmeline with us?
Yes, I'm here.
She's with
I'm
us?
from Burundi. Yes.
Yes, from Burundi. Thank you so much for being with us today. It's a very sensitive topic for us women especially.
Yes.
So, Emmeline, I'll not really, again, say your second name. It's very difficult and I don't want to, So Emmeline is the founder and legal representative of Besilient, Be a Testimony. That's the acronym is BART, member of Femwise Africa.
Yes,
Femwise, right?
of Africa. Yes.
Karibu sana. The floor is yours. Kindly, my dear Emmeline, 5 minutes, we get into it, right?
Yes, I think that it will be less than 5 minutes because many things have been raised.
Have been addressed, yes.
Yes. But I think that what I'm going to say about Burundi, actually, we are dealing with how to deal with domestic violence in a country like Burundi when violence almost became normal because of many conflicts we have been through. And since 2015, we are facing with another crisis. And in Burundi, everything becomes politics. And it's very, very difficult for activists to deal with domestic violence, especially when there are people from the ruling party or from the police and the military who are involved in this domestic violence. So it's very difficult for women to, especially to go to access to court because they are married or are living together with people from police or military. And it's very difficult for those who are married, especially to young people from the youth wing of the ruling party, because they are called militia, actually. Some people call the youth wing militia. So it's very difficult actually for activists to raise the issue of domestic violence because they are threatened by the police, by people working for the administration, because as I said before, everything becomes politics in my country. And actually what people are doing, those activists, they put what they call the emergency number for victims so they can call when they are threatened. But it's, as Ambassador Kiketso Mayema said, it's very, very difficult for them to go to the police station because as she said, you can have those people, police who can tell the thing that it's an issue of the home. And especially when their colleagues are cited as people who are threatened the victim. So this is the issue of Burundi. I don't have anything to say, but actually it's very, very difficult in my country because of the crisis we are going through since 2015 to raise this issue of domestic violence because everything becomes politics. And NGOs actually in my country, they are working in difficult environments because they are seen as people are trying to, they are seen as almost as opponents of the government and the ruling party. So this is the issue of Burundi. And I'm here also to learn from your experiences and the tips you can use in my country since you are working in this difficult environment. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ambassador, Emmeline. It's so sad to know this is happening in Burundi. We didn't know that even NGOs sometimes they have, we thought working for an NGO sometimes and you're addressing this kind of issues, it's the kind of support even you get from the government, you know, it's better than, you know, other organizations. So we will side chat and see how we can help Burundi. Coming in next is Lynette Kamadi. Kamadi, Kenya, is she with us? Lynette?
Yes, hello.
Lynette Kamadi?
Yeah, can you hear me?
That's the gorgeous Lynette Kamadi. We hope you can hear us. She's the Miss Tourism Kakamega. She's a nutritional farmer, amazing, and a director. This is director at Ned's Kitchen. Yeah, Karibu Lynette.
Thank you so much. Hello everyone. Hope you can hear me well. My name is Lynette Kamadi, as you've been told, Miss Tourism Kenya Investments. And domestic violence actually is a major public health issue that is affecting millions of people, not just in Kenya, but globally. And a lot has been said by other speakers. What I can just quickly share is what we've been able to do on our side to address this issue. Actually, we realized since the first time coronavirus was announced here in Kenya, there's been a rise in cases such as domestic violence. And you realize a lot of people are being locked down with abusive partners in their homes because of these curfews and lockdown issues. Yeah, and there's been a rise in sexual offenses and all that, which is quite alarming. What I can say is through some interactions, even before coronavirus came in Kenya, we've been relating one-on-one with some of the other survivors and victims of domestic violence, and they've been able to share some of the causes, some of the causes that's contributing to this vice. And we have a lot, like media, it portrays women as a demeaning object. Also peer group, childhood experience. Sometimes you find it's possible for an abuser. Are you getting me, everyone?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yeah, sometimes.
Continue.
Yeah, sometimes it's possible for an abuser to witness violence during childhood and understand that violence can be a way to control balance within family. So you find most of them tend to learn these things from their childhood experiences. And also mental illness can be a contributor, and economic circumstances. Mostly during this COVID-19 pandemic, many people are losing their jobs, they're into debt, and this is increasing a lot of stress levels at home, which can lead to violence. And also financial difficulties can also limit options for survivors to seek safety. And on an individual basis, what I've done to at least address this, since last year, been able to carry out several sensitization and capacity building workshop for communities on types of gender-based violence, because we realize not everyone understands what domestic violence is. Some women and girls are going through this and they don't know that they have a right to have a voice and get justice. Also, we train young women and girls on self-defense so that they can avert sexual abuse like rape and assault. And what we're also doing on ground, and we'll also do a follow-up after COVID has come to an end, we are training local women leaders on their role in curbing gender-based violence in the community. And also, we are establishing safe spaces and support systems for gender-based violence victims. With this, we can see there's a lot of challenges. You get, like some perpetrators are economically empowered, and they're trying each and every way to suppress efforts to come and address this issue. And also sometimes you can get victims are not, or let me call them survivors. They're not willing to cooperate, maybe because they're afraid, or maybe they're, as one of the speakers said, they don't want to make their family ashamed, so they decide to opt out of court. And what you can see also is there's a big gap in terms of policy implementation matters gender-based violence. And what we really need is we should have domestic, we should have rescue centers safe spaces in place so that at least you can help survivors have a safe space. And what also we've been able to do is to conduct public health training in the community on issues around domestic violence.
Lynette, my darling, Lynette, time.
Oh, sorry. Let me wind
And
up.
I think then I think you're the one with there's a little bit of noise. I think it's from where you are because we cannot get you very clearly. There's a little bit of background noise.
Yeah, I'm in a restaurant.
Okay.
You getting me?
Yes, kindly
Hello?
proceed. Only 1 minute, so we can wind up.
Yeah, 1 minute. So apart from all this we've been able to do, our biggest achievement is we've been able to influence policymakers to embrace domestic violence or gender-based violence as a critical policy issue. Yeah.
Thank you, Lynette, to know that we are hoping that the county government that you're working with is supporting you when it comes to this sensitive issue. So thank you so much for your contribution towards this sensitive issue for us. Masindi Rebecca, is she with us? Masindi Rebecca? Masindi Rebecca.
Hello.
Hi, Masindi, how are you?
I'm fine. Can you see me? I don't know my camera.
Masindi, I think maybe you turn the camera to yourself and Masindi.
Yes.
Masindi,
I think my camera is upside down.
Masindi, can we give you a few minutes as you sort it out? We can give the other speaker a chance because as we observe time.
Okay.
Oh, there you are, Masindi. You can.
Okay, thank you, Louis.
Masindi, thank you for joining us. Just to remind you, only 5 minutes, my darling. I know you'd want to really, hello, you frozen. You can hear us? Masindi, your connection.
Okay, I can hear you.
Masindi Rebecca is from South Africa. She's a youth educator development. She's a gender activist as well. She's a peace builder, amazing. She's a mediator and a policymaker and also a coach. Masindi, over to you. Just 5 minutes. You can give us your presentation.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Louis. As other speakers have spoken, surely we know and understand that domestic violence affects individuals and everyone in the community and people of all social background and education levels. It is an epidemic that it is found in its way in the international headlines, which is what we are experiencing every day globally. The time I became educated about this issue of domestic violence, I said to myself, I cannot stay on the sidelines and say nothing. To stay silent, it says I am fine with this kind of abuse and torture against our women, young girls and boys, and in all its forms, which I stood and said, there is a big no. I can't let this continue. So as an ambassador and a gender activist, working with many survivors, when I was busy with my organization, I have learned that our victims are living in daily fear and have a very devastating physical, emotional, psychological consequences, which it goes and it even end up saying within their families, the generation, it stays. And when it stays for them, it stays for the lifetime. And at the end, it creates a community that is a community that we experience now with the current situation, where we see domestic violence is growing instead of being reduced. So as the activist, I really want to encourage all of us to continue to lobby our justice systems, our social services, to strengthen the hand on the law enforcement, because domestic violence victims need to know that there is a light at the end of a tunnel. As one of many voices, I would like to encourage all of us to join in, support awareness programs, advocate more, because most victims are powerless and they are counting on us as civil society. We need to build and increase our community power by educating them through dialogues, pamphlets, and various activities. Because when I looked at domestic violence, is a thing that is being legislated, but when you look at the awareness of it, the advocacy of it, it's not like any other programs like HIV and AIDS, cancer. So it's upon us as ambassadors that we must make sure that we continue to have programs that empowers our community to say, whenever they see anything that is a domestic violence issue or a domestic violence activity, they must know where to report. And they must even make our young girls, even young boys at school, to know what is domestic violence, and even if when it happens, what must they do and where must they report. And as a gender activist, I just want to thank the organizers of this conference, to say I'm very honored to be a speaker today. And I would like to say to all of you, let us continue to work hard. Let us continue to educate our communities around this epidemic called domestic violence. And then let us continue to care for them, and then let us make sure they are safe at all times, especially our young girls and young boys. I thank you very much, Louis.
Ambassador Rebecca, thank you so much for observing time, and it's an honor as well to have you as part of our speakers today. It's true, we need to sensitize people around the gender violence issue from a very young age. I'm going to move next to our other speaker. Her name is Ambassador Matshidiso Dipudi. Dipudi, are you with us? Ambassador Dipudi? Joyce, is Ambassador Dipudi with us?
Yes, I can see she's with us.
Okay.
I can see
Maybe
she's with us.
muted.
Maybe she just needs to unmute.
Dipudi?
Hello.
Ambassador Dipudi.
Yes, I'm with you, ma'am. Can you all hear me?
Yes, but you're speaking very low.
Can you now hear me?
Yes, we can hear you and we can see you.
Okay,
Karibu
thank you very
sana.
much.
So Ambassador Dipudi, she is from South Africa. She's a professional nurse and midwife. She's also a primary healthcare and private practitioner and gender activist as well. Deputy, you'll jump into it. I'll kindly observe the 5 minutes, just 5 minutes we talk about gender violence. Karibu sana, the floor is yours. Deputy?
Okay, thank you. As said, I'm Matshidiso Dipudi from South Africa. I am a professional nurse and a primary healthcare specialist, but I'm also a gender activist. And I believe all of us now understand, after all the speakers have spoken, that this gender-based violence is a pandemic, according to me. It is affecting all of us in the same way. And most integral to our lives is health. And gender-based violence brings illness or an unhealthy status either to your emotions, to your psychology, physically and otherwise, with the worst outcome being death. And I want to agree with the speakers that raised that we need to raise our boy children in a different way. Help them, assist them to understand how to deal with rejection of any form from any human being or any female. And in the pipeline, I will be working with a program called Boys Can, Men Can. And because the society now has labeled that there is a lot that they cannot be able to do given the emancipation of women. And I guess this super emancipation of women is not very much welcomed by them, because in many cases, the abusers, when you interview and you get deep into what might be the problem, it's either issues of a super ego or them not being able to control their ego or accept the status that the woman comes with. Because we all know through our cultures, through the education we give boys, we raise them to be strong, we raise them not to cry, we raise them to withstand any other pressure that comes to them, forgetting that they are as human as ourselves as women. And because we all want to be loved, then we cannot avoid a situation where a male and a female, of course, observing that we have the LGBTIQ+ that also deserve to be loved in the same way as any other two partners who want to love each other. We need to sort this mess. Our daughters need to be married by men that are respectful, men that love, men that tolerate. Thank you very much.
Ambassador Dipude, thank you so much for that brief presentation. I think I'm receiving a few comments from our participants. Joyce, wherever you are, probably you could share a summary of live visual video of all speakers. Is that possible, Joyce?
Yes, yes, absolutely. I'll be sharing with everyone. So if you need it, I have left the email for WWLC on the comment section.
Correct.
So you can reach us through the email, and then we will send you the video.
I can see it has been shared. Thank you, Joyce, for that. Our next speaker is from Germany. Her name is Sandal Taylor Head. She was Miss Germany World. Tyler, Mrs.
Hello,
Tyler, are you
everyone.
with us?
Yes, I am. Can you hear me?
There you are, Tyler. Yes, I can hear you clearly.
Good
I don't
morning.
know, is everyone
Good
else getting
morning.
Tyler?
Yes.
Yes.
So,
all right.
good
5
morning,
minutes, my
everyone.
darling, so that we can observe time. I know you have a lot to say about gender-based violence. Let's keep it 5 minutes.
I understand. So first, I just want to give a warning. I know some of you guys have children listening, and my message is actually going to be speaking about a violent situation. So I just want to warn everyone in case their child is listening that what I'm about to say might be a little bit heavier. I'd like for all of you to take a moment and imagine yourself sitting on your couch with your infant child, having the abuser run down the stairs, pick you up, slam you into a wall, and proceed to pour beer in your eyes that you could not see for 3 days. This is what actually happened to me 11 years ago with my son, who was only 4 months old. Domestic violence in any form is not okay, whether it's a man, a woman, or a child. And it can be received in multiple ways: man to man, woman to man, man to child, and even so more. What you ladies and gentlemen have spoke about today is the true key to success. I believe that Mrs. Tinswallow and Mr. Moses hit the nail on the head when they started to speak about talking to our children. I believe the foundation of every problem starts with teaching our children what is and what is not acceptable. So what I chose to speak about today, because we've already covered a lot of the information, is 5 things that are actually positive that we can address to children, that we can take away from a potential domestic violence situation. Now, these things aren't going to happen right over time. They may not happen right away, and they may not happen for years after the abuse is rightfully so spoken about, observed, and reflected on. So the first thing is using empathy as your superpower. we all here can recognize each other and can relate to what is going on in today's world. In my country, in Germany, which I'm currently living in the United States right now, it is 1 in 4 people. So much so that recently in Germany, they opened up a hotline specifically designed for male domestic violence survivors because it was bringing up. So use that empathy, nourish yourself first, and relate to each other on this level that we're able to do right now. The second thing is speaking about healthy boundaries. What is acceptable? We need to teach that to children from a very young age. Very, very young. We need to teach them what is acceptable, what is not acceptable, and what they can do to speak their voice and to speak their truth, and that it is okay to speak up. The next thing is that, like I mentioned, this isn't going to happen right away. We need to realize that there is new perspective after this situation, no matter how long ago it was. The first thing is realizing your inner strength. It takes a lot of strength to walk away from a domestic violence situation. Love yourself and learn to re-love others, because that is a challenge that we need to deal with. And your voice is key. Speaking about what happened to you is the key to possibly unlocking someone else's story that they may have been afraid of to speak about. The fourth thing is resiliency. Strength that you never realized you knew you had. You gain strength when you realize that you chose to leave, that you chose to seek help and guidance. My life was almost taken from me. I don't want that to happen to anyone else. And lastly, but not least, of course, you can identify now red flags, help for others that may be either in your country or in your surrounding areas where people can go and get help. And again, you can use your voice to project to the world what amazing things are out there. Last week, I was able to join a conference with the Voice of Our Child organization through Caroline Verkayek. And I joined children's speakers from across the world that we could actually educate on this exact issue and get their input. So there are options out there to connect with children from across the world. That is my message to you. It is never too late to speak up. Thank you.
I think that one, we weren't expecting that, Sandal, Tyler. It's, I can imagine the strength that it has taken you to share that story, because a lot of women who are abused don't really come out to say that they have been abused, because, sometimes they think it's a sign of weakness, and also thinking that people will not understand. I've learned a few things using our voices, resilience, realizing the inner strength that we can, that we possess, and also empathy, very important. A lot of people are not empathetic, that is, we weren't ready for that. Thank you so much for sharing, Tyler. Thank you so much. We'll go right to our next speaker, Bridget Kanini. She's from Kenya. Miss Machakos. Bridget Kanini.
Yes, I can hear you. Hello.
Bridget, there you are, Bridget. 5 minutes, my darling. You can get into it, okay, and share your presentation as well.
Okay. So I'm Bridget Kanini from Kenya, Miss Tourism, Machakos County. And a lot has been said since we started this conference. I am learning so much from the other speakers. And most of what I had to share has been said, but what I would like to emphasize on is the part that us as young people have to play in stopping this issue of domestic violence. Yet that most of us in my age mates, we are growing into our roles where in future we'll become wives, will become mothers, will be in a position where we could experience domestic violence from our partners. So it would be quite wise for us to start talking about this as early as now, start educating each other, on how bad it can be. We don't have to wait for it to happen to us for us to stand up and start fighting it, because it's already happening to those who've come before us. I believe if we are bold enough about it, it could come to an end. We could come like what we did with the End Period Shame campaign. You realize that nowadays you can't just shame a woman for her periods and not receive some kind of retribution. If we could get gender-based violence and domestic violence to such a level, it could come to an end. You'd find that most people are growing up right now without really involving themselves in the issues that affect us as a society. If it gets to the youth, then that would actually really help. I wanted to cover some bit of the reasons as to why gender-based violence, especially at homes, usually happens. And one of the biggest reasons is that back in the day, it was right to punish a woman using violence. And that is a mentality that is going out right now. And you find that new reasons are coming up for why men are choosing violence with whatever it is they're going through. And you find that frustrations in their lives, maybe because of some income issue or something they've gone through as men, they decide, here is a weaker sex, we can take it out on them. That needs to be addressed. That if we address gender-based violence from the roots, from why it happens, then we actually have a chance at stopping it. I applaud the ones that are doing it from the end where it's already happened, where we get to catch the abusers and reprimand them for what they've done. I applaud them for that. But if we could handle it from the preventive perspective, where we look at why it's happening, where we give these people some guidance and counseling, maybe through bulletins or adverts on TV, where we get to just get the information out there that it is okay to go through what you're going through as a person. It is just not okay to take it out on the person next to you using violence. I believe that way we can get to stop this problem. I realize that sometimes it happens to people and they don't report these cases, because you find that sometimes you don't even know that we have hotlines that exist that deal with this issue. So yeah, putting the word out there, like what we're doing in the conference today, could help in stopping this. And I believe that we're going to win this war where we stop all these violences. Thank you, Lois.
Thank you so much, Bridget Kanini. You know, the beauty is that what you have shared is so similar to what Ambassador Onyango was talking about. It's about, you know, going to the, you know, first of all, to the grassroots and trying to find out why men do what they do and trying to get to the root of it and handling at that level, right? So thank you so much, Bridget, for sharing with us. We really appreciate that. So we'll go next to Ambassador Beauty Pole from South Africa. Ambassador Beauty. I had seen Ambassador Beauty. Ambassador Beauty, is she with us?
Can you hear me? Hello?
Yes, Ambassador
Can you hear
Beauty.
me?
There you are. Are we pronouncing your name right? Pole? It's Pole?
Yes, very well. Thank you.
Karibu Sana. Ambassador Pole, she's from South Africa. She's a gender activist, environmental activist, and she's also an educator. Karibu Sana, Ambassador. The floor is yours again. We keep our time for 5 minutes.
Okay, thank you. Firstly, I would like to welcome and appreciate the founders of this forum. And I'm happy to be part of this conference today. And secondly, I would also like to say I'm very much impressed with the young women that are advocating for domestic violence. Thank you. Yes, my take on domestic violence is we know that domestic violence is a universal problem. And as it is a universal problem, it doesn't have any color or nationality. And I'm going to tackle it from a different angle. I'm going to emphasize patriarchy and stereotyping because we know that patriarchal cultures are the major contributory factors to domestic violence. Like many speakers have already said, that if we can nurture the boy child from infancy to respect and support women, I think we can win this fight on domestic violence. And another thing, to root out these patriarchal cultures, I think we need also to make sure that the justice system across the globe, not only in South Africa and many other countries that have implemented the laws and the acts that addresses domestic violence. We need to make sure as women, I mean, this is in our hands as women. If we are not going to stand for each other, then it's gonna be a problem. So we need to make sure that the justice system prosecute the perpetrators accordingly. And another point I'm having is that we need to collaborate with civil organizations that advocate, men civil organizations that advocates gender-based violence. The reason I'm saying that, we must remember that the very same perpetrators, they are our children, they are our brothers, they are our son-in-laws, they are, they are one of us. And if we are not going to start engaging them in our fight with domestic violence, then it's going to be difficult to win this gender-based violence. And one other thing that I would also like to emphasize is for the governments of the world to empower women so that they can be realize their independence and have the power to be able to can stand for themselves. And also as women, and especially encourage the young ones to tap into space where men are, whether it be political, whether it be social, whether it be economical. Let's see women there. And I think the reason that in South Africa we have a high rate of domestic violence, it is because South African women are tapping into that space. And we sort of find some resistance from men. So hence the high rate of gender-based violence. So that is why I'm saying we need to engage these men in our fight to curb the scourge of domestic violence. And another thing that I want to say is, as women, let's form these organizations that talks to gender violence. I mean, as many as we can have, so that our young girls, they grow up having confidence in themselves, knowing exactly who they are. So that even if they find themselves trapped in relationships that are violent to them, then they are able to move out and they can stand for themselves. They can be able to feed their children and they can be able to move on with life. Because what keeps them trapped is that they can't do anything for themselves. So all as women, let's support each other, empower each other, and educate each other. Not only women, but also our boy children. So I would like to say, I thank you. Let's move on. Let's know that when you strike a woman, you strike a rock. Let's resist this, irrespective of which country where you come from, where your rights are being manipulated and all that. Let's stand firm and fight the scourge. I thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ambassador Beauty, because it's true, we need to involve our men. You're right, there are fathers, there are brothers, there are husbands, there are friends. They need to be involved in this discussion more. So that's why I was very excited to see Ambassador Moses Onyango with us here today. They really need to be also on the forefront in fighting this, because it's also a pandemic now, because it has really increased and skyrocketed, especially after this breakout of this pandemic, COVID-19. Thank you so much, Ambassador. We cannot thank you enough. Next, this is our last speaker for today. I'm very excited to hear what she has to share with us. She's from Kenya, Wanja Thingira. Is she with us? Wanja Thingira. There she is with a big, beautiful smile. Wanja, karibu sana.
Thank you.
Wanja from Kenya is the Chief Manager at Vera Beauty and Fashion College. She's also a Director of Miss Tourism Kenya and also a Director at TAS Consultant. Karibu sana Wanja. The floor is yours. Again, 5 minutes as we come to the end.
Thank you, our
Yes,
moderator.
of the presentations. Yes.
All right. Thank you to our presidents and our founders of this great platform. And thank you also for the participants who have talked here, our ambassadors and the youth here. It's been quite enlightening. So on top of being in business, I'm also a peace ambassador, and I am passionate about the environment, and African spirituality as well is one of the things that I am very passionate about. When we talk about domestic violence, the first thing that comes to my mind is that domestic violence is about power and control. And that's the root cause of it. So the prevalence that is here, particularly in Kenya, it's due to the fact that there is a lack of land rights for women, education, and access to financial resources and access to protection. So before we even address other things, these are the things that I feel like we need to address as a government and as even those who are privileged. We need to address these items because poverty in Kenya is a very high factor in perpetuating domestic violence. And I can give an example in Kilifi County, which is a coastal town, 600 kilometers from here. There is a very high rate of child marriage and child pregnancies, to the point of where there are even 24-year-olds who are grandmothers. And it's because of the poverty levels that are there, the lack of education, the lack of training. And I feel like this is criminal, and it needs to be addressed. Our government has tried to address it by criminalizing the girls and threatening the girls to get pregnant with jail time and the parents. But to address that, you need to first address why the case why is it that the girls are getting pregnant, and why is it so prevalent. And so for us as Vera Beauty and Fashion College, we lent our skills and our services to such organizations and such county governments, because we believe that once you train a girl in a skill, or any youth in a skill, and they become independent and they become able to stand up, work for themselves and bring themselves money, then they do not need to rely on abusers or other things to have some food, to put some food on the table, or to have shelter. So that's why even at Vera, one of the first things that we do once a student has registered is the first months we try and give you back your voice, make you an advocate for yourself, and unlearn those toxic traits that we have been taught from our youth, that we are useless, that we are nobodies, that we are no good, and change their mind shift and know that once you learn these skills and you empower yourselves to make money for yourselves, then you do not need to run to some people to support you, and you don't need to take such abuse, and you don't need to give your power and your control to someone else. So those are some of the things that we teach at our school. And also, we also, not only do we teach the training skills in hairdressing, beauty, and fashion, which will empower the youth, we also teach them how to recognize these abusers. And I go around talking to young people and tell them, you need to know who are narcissists, who are psychopaths, who are sociopaths, because these are charming people, people who are big standing in society, people who are respected in society, and they're very charming, but they have traits in them that they have narcissistic traits that can, they are very manipulative. They make you feel like you're crazy. They take away your power, make you feel like you're nobody. And once you give away that power, before you know it, you're in a situation where you're experiencing such domestic violence and abuse. So those are some of the things that I advocate to teach the youth, and giving back power through training, through giving them skills, through giving them their voice back to be advocates to themselves. So that is in my capacity what I do, and also there are various bodies who work here in Kenya, who we can also support. And the biggest thing that we can do to combat this is awareness. Having everyone to be aware of the situation that they are, it gives them a bit of power to lift the fog from their eyes and to realize that there is a better way to live, and there is another life out there. And even policing our police, the bodies who do that, to ensure that they are conducting investigations and not dismissing them to family matters. So with that, I want to thank you for this opportunity. Hi, Lois, you're still on mute.
Yes, I was talking to myself there. Thank you so much for observing time, but you've raised very important issues, and it's true, poverty really contributes to this. But you've also said that we really need to re-educate women, you know, to identify who these perpetrators could be, these victims. I mean, who these people can be, who are potential abusers. You never know. You know, I'm so happy to know that you do this. I didn't know that you actually, you know, this is part of what you do. Thank you so much, Wanja, for that. I think it's time to also now bring, there she is, Debbie. I don't know whether Dr. Ayla is with us. She's the president and founder of World Women Leading Change. Is she with us? Dr. Ayla?
Hello, everyone.
Hello, Dr. Ari. How are you?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you.
It's amazing conference. I was listening to everyone, and especially thank you very much for all, especially to World Women Change Africa, Madam Ambassador Alice, and thank you for moderator, Madam Louise. Thank you very much for all the speakers, and also Ambassador Debbie, the host from South Africa. My message only one. World Women Leading Change is actually woman empowerment that I founded. We want to be a cocoon. We want to lead women to give back and do changes. There's nothing we can do to see in the past when we are facing domestic violence, but we still can see the future. You have the power to educate your children and educate yourself to be better every day. And only through education, only through empowerment, then we can fight this together. Remember this, nobody, not men, not women, not children, are eligible for domestic violence. And sometimes what happened to the people who does the domestic violence, it could be man, it could be woman. They have bad memories because brain is so amazing. The brain does, normally they repeat it, you know, what people do, it's like recording. So choose to always record good things in your mind. And when that happens to you, in Africa especially, educate yourself more, skill yourself more, so you can be independent and have that power within you to stop this and to change. Changes start from you. Love from Jakarta, Indonesia. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Ayla, for that. You're right, education is key. And I know a lot of African countries have been they've been very much committed into ensuring that every person from every corner in Africa gets an education, because like we heard from Wanja Thingira saying, education is important when it comes to empowering our women, to empowering our children. And just like Dr. Ambassador Beauty said, yes, education, even when it comes to the boy child, they need to learn from an early age that they are our protectors, not our abusers. So thank you so much, Dr. Ayla. So next, I don't know whether Ambassador Caroline Verkaik. Caroline Verkaik, you're with us?
Royce?
Yes?
Caroline
Is she still with us?
Is our trustee. Caroline Verkaik is a trustee for Africa.
Okay.
So she's World Women Leading Change trustee for Africa.
Okay. We are looking, I don't know where, is she with us?
Yeah. She's here with us.
Hi,
Hello?
Caroline. I cannot see you. You know, I'm trying to look to find your pretty face. Where are you?
I can't show my pretty face because I'm still in bed. It's very early in the morning. I've been up since 3 in the morning.
Okay.
So I was not coming to speak today, but I just wanted to commend all the women who came out today from South Africa and other countries around the world, and my friends who came out, and to say this is a really wonderful forum. And as a domestic survivor myself, I know just how strong a woman has to be to decide to walk away or to decide that this is enough. But I also understand that there's men who go through domestic violence and that kids get affected by it too. And that's why with the program that we have with the Voice of Our Child, we always take care of such kids. But I'm really, really impressed. I've been listening to all of you, even though I'm in my bed, but I have my headphones on. So I've been listening to all of you, and I think that you're all doing an amazing job. And the secret to success is showing up, and the fact that you guys have all shown up and been a voice. All your stories are so amazing, and they are, like Sandel said, they're going to change somebody's life. The statistics, as we have been told by Annette in South Africa, are the same in most African countries, but domestic violence is not even something that targets a certain geographical part of the world or a gender. I think it's the same. Mostly, I know it's women, but it's men too, and kids too. And so I recommend everybody who's doing an amazing job in doing this. And Joy, my director, I thought she was the one who was going to represent me today. She's my daughter and my director for Voice of Our Child. So I would let her represent me. But Lois, you're doing such an amazing job. You're such an eloquent speaker. I really enjoy how you're handling this. So thank you so much. And Ali, thank you so much for the acknowledgement, and Ella for making all this happen to us. And Women Leading Change, you're definitely all women leading change. So thank you so much. And I really appreciate the opportunity that you gave me to speak. Sorry, I can't show my pretty face. And plus, my husband is sleeping, so he probably would not be wanting to show his face to the world too. Thank you.
It's understandable. Thank you so much, Caroline, for that. I'd really also want to thank everyone who's, you know, just put aside their time to really address this issue that is gender-based violence. It is a silent monster that is killing families, but women suffer in silence. I was also wondering, do we now also address the boy child, because some of the men are also being abused, but they also do not talk as much. But that was done by a lot of other speakers. I think I'll hand over to Alice Kamunge, Ambassador Alice Kamunge.
Thank you, Lawrence. Thank you so much. I think today has been the best conference ever, discussing a very, very sensitive issue in our lives, and it touches everyone, from the rich and to the poor. Everybody is affected by domestic violence. So it was a very good topic for us to speak. And like the speakers have said, this is not the last of it. As the speakers were speaking, I was trying to come up with another topic on how to address the next one. Maybe we need to talk about what our children feel when in the families, when we have this domestic violence, when we have gender violence, what goes through our children, what goes through families, and these are topics we must keep on talking. And yes, members, everybody in this group know this is the beginning, but we'll keep on talking, because we need to keep on discussing about issues which affect the family, because we know the family is the fabric under which the society is made of. And when the fabric tears apart, then the society is broken, and everything is broken, and the world is broken. So these are topics we must keep on discussing. And we thank our president so much for bringing up this forum, because of this forum, we'll keep on talking as people of the world, women of the world. And like the speaker said, yes, our boy children needs to be taken care of. All of them, everything is domestic violence. It doesn't matter whether it is done on a boy child, a girl child, a woman or a man, is domestic violence. So when you are discussing about domestic violence, or when you are discussing about issues affecting the family, it is all of us. So today we thank you so much for attending, but I wanted to ask Joy if it's in order for us to, we have a minute, we can be able to recognize all the people who are in attendance, so that at least we can know how they feel, and they can say hello to us. And they also, because I know next time they'll be the speakers. Do you have a minute?
Yes, absolutely.
Yes,
I think, okay, yes, I think we should actually just give them a minute to say hello. Lois,
please.
Is it possible for us? There's someone who had requested if we can have, we want to see people's faces. We want to feel what they, we want to hear what they felt about the discussion. Did we leave something out, Is it possible we can do that, Joy?
Yeah, or yes, or even if anyone has a question, probably they feel there's someone who shared something that they'd like to really connect with, or maybe ask a question.
Is Annette still with us? Is she still with us, or time was not on her side?
Yeah, she left. I think she had another meeting.
All right.
We can have the ones who have not spoken, the ones in attendance.
Yeah, we can have the guests introduced. Just take a second to maybe say hi.
Bilha Karaoke. Bilha Karaoke, can you hear us? I'm picking from my list of the people I know that what about Glory Karaoke?
Yes,
Glory?
I'm in.
Glory?
Yes.
There you are.
Yeah, my name is Pastor Glory, and I'm really grateful to be in this forum. Maybe just to say, sitting here and listening to all the speakers speak, as a pastor of the church, we have a huge role to play. And it's my prayer that we can be able to pick all these and somehow know how to address them from the pulpit, or even from the small groups that we normally have in church, because the coverage of the church is huge. We meet with women, we meet with men, we meet with the youth. The church was to take the role and address this issue from a pulpit. I believe we can be able to really reach out to many people and save many marriages and other people who would have gone through the drain without being noticed. And so for me, I've taken a lot. I'm so grateful. Thank you, Madam Alice. Thank you, Ayla. Thank you, Joyce. And Lois, you are a wonderful moderator. I've enjoyed. Thank you so
Thank
much,
you so
our
much.
speakers. You have taught us a lot. I'm from Kenya.
Thank you so much, dear Glory. I have Konanani, single. Single? Would love to hear your views. Is she with us still?
I'm sorry. Yes, I am. What?
Single.
I'm sorry. What was the question?
We have other guests who are, who had tuned in and they were listening. We want to recognize them as well. There was one called Konanani, single. Is she with us still? Mulinge Mwende. Mulinge Mwende, would love to hear your views. Or you can
Yes,
contribute.
hi, can you hear me?
Hi,
everyone. Hi, can you hear me?
Konanani.
Yes, hi.
Konanani?
Yes, hi, can you hear me? Hi,
We
it's
can hear you,
Konanani.
but from very far.
Is it better now?
Yes, oh, there you are.
Is it better now? Hello, everyone.
Yes, Konanani.
I have really learned a lot. I was listening attentively to what everyone was saying. It's important that I agree with what Ambassador Tintolo said, that we need to raise our boy child in the right manner, because it becomes a problem to the society. And also I also agree to what other speakers have said as well. And I have learned a lot, from what everybody has said. And thank you for inviting me.
Karibu sana. Noni Karaoke. Noni Karaoke.
Hello, everyone.
Hi, Noni. How are you? You want to say something to, to the participants for today?
Yeah, I'm Noni from Kenya. I just want to thank everyone for making their time for this meeting. It was really educative. To our guests for giving us such good advice and educating us, especially the point from that today being Menstrual Hygiene Day. I've learned a point that the challenges women and girls go through during their menstruation can also lead to the violence at home. So yeah, we've really learned a lot, and I'm thankful to each and every one of you. Thank you.
Thank you, Noni. Someone, Bilha Karaoke. Bilha?
Yes.
Do you want to say something to?
Yeah, thank you,
to
Lois. I left a little bit. My baby fell. I was called to do some first aid. I'm sorry about that.
Oh no. Oh no.
She's fine.
Sorry.
Yeah, so I'm Bilha. Okay. I'm Bilha from Kenya. I'm the CEO of Beyond Love Foundation. Beyond Love Foundation is a foundation that I registered in August last year. And I am dealing with divorcees. This is a new, it's something different from what we're doing now, but I'm sure with time we will take care of that. So I am taking care of divorcee. We have trainings that we are taking care of. I'm sure with time we will catch up and we will get to understand what is happening with Beyond Love Foundation. And I'm so happy and so excited about what we've learned today. I once was also a victim of domestic violence, but I thank God for I came out as a victor, and I'm happy for this platform. And I hope that we shall continue to grow together and to get into our societies and get to learn and to teach each other. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Bilha. For me, I think because of time, we can wind up, but I'd like to appreciate the organizers of this very important forum. Thank you so much, Dr. Ayla. Thank you so much, Ambassador Alice Kamunge. Thank you so much, Caroline Verkaik. We appreciate you for bringing women together to address this issue, because it is really growing it's increasing, and it's not only in Africa, but globally. We are hearing cases where domestic violence has become the second pandemic after COVID-19. It is so sad to know that the places that we actually go to hide have become very scary places to be and even to live. I'd also want to recognize Joyce. She has done a wonderful job. She's been running up and down, but finally we're here, and she's delivered a very good forum. Thank you so much, Joyce. And I'd want to hand over to you. Once again, I was your moderator, Lois Muirore, and I'm so happy to have spent it. I think it's 2 hours. You see how time flies when we are talking about important issues. Thank you so much for making time for this important forum. And I think Ambassador Alice Kamunge, we should do this more often, and invite, the next time we need to invite now the boy child. They need to tell us what they think about domestic violence. Thank you so much, and over to you, Joy.
Wow, my goodness. I think today was one emotional session, but then it is a very important session that we have to address, and especially in our African society. So I want to thank every speaker and Sandal Taylor for sharing that emotional story. It was quite something. And one thing that, there's a quote that I love so much that says, a divorced daughter is better than a dead daughter. A divorced daughter, and I will replace daughter with child. A divorced daughter is better than a dead one. Because in our African society, I think in Kenya some time back, there was a day we had cases almost every day where a man has died because has been killed by the wife, or a woman has been killed by the wife. And to also just mention, Mrs. Kamunge asked something. We need to hear children sharing about how they've been affected. And just to share my own is that I experienced domestic violence in my family, because my mother would be beaten by my father, but she would never want to leave. But the thing that she did not know, that it was affecting us. And I remember in high school, when I was sent to boarding, I would have anxiety attacks because I would imagine, what if I find my mom has been killed? What if? So those are the things that really affect children, and some children end up even in drugs because of what they have experienced. So these are conversations that we must have. We must be the solution. We must be the solution. We should not wait for the government to give us solutions, but we must be the solution by starting from where we are. So thank you. And someone mentioned about bringing up our boy child, because we want to bring up, and I liked what someone said, that some of these perpetrators, they're actually our family. And the thing is, I have seen with some families, they encourage the habit by covering up. So we have to do something, and it has to start now. And it has to start with me. It has to start with you. So thank you so much. Thank you so much. We really, really appreciate all of you amazing speakers, and for those who also came to attend, and the only man in the house who came to represent the male gender, Mr. Moses, we really appreciate you. And thank you so much. So I'm just going to hand over back to Ambassador Alice, our president, and she will wind up for us and give the vote of thanks.
Thank you, Joy. Thank you so much. I won't take so much time because you have learned a lot. You need to digest. Oh my goodness, we need to digest what you have gone through, because for me it's like a big weight removed from my shoulders, because so many times you talk about domestic violence and you think, even when we are choosing this topic, I was wondering, is it only our country where we have domestic violence? Suppose other countries, how do they feel? But today we have seen this is a monster we need to slay, all of us. The whole world needs to slay this monster, and together we are going to do it. And I thank you so much. Our speakers of the day, I don't know, I think we can only salute you for the wonderful job you have done. You have spoken so boldly about domestic violence, something which was scaring us even when we were putting this topic. But you have seen that this is something we need to discuss candidly all the time. So thank you so much, our speakers, for stepping in for us. Thank you, South Africa. South Africa, thank you for being a fantastic host. Because of South Africa, we have so many speakers from all over Africa. We thank you so much, Dino, for doing that. By the way, Dino is in charge of Southern Africa, and she's the one who is helping us to bring all the ladies from Southern Africa, and very soon we'll be announcing the countries she'll be representing. And today also we want to announce somebody very vibrant, Lois, our moderator for today. She's already decided she wants to take up East Africa. She'll be the president for Eastern Africa because she wants to bring women from all over Africa, from Ethiopia, South Sudan, Uganda, Rwanda, Burundi, not Tanzania, Tanzania. She wants to go all the way to Eritrea to bring women of substance to women leading change. So we thank you.
Ambassador.
Our president is very, very happy about how women in Africa have taken up this movement very seriously, and we look forward to the COVID beyond that, to finish this COVID, because I know it will end. And our airspace will be open again. And as soon as our airspace will be open, we are going to meet again and have a conference where we'll be facing each other and discussing issues and matters, family matters, women matters, entrepreneurship. So otherwise, I thank you so much. I thank you, our moderator. I thank Joy so much. I thank the team which was behind the success of today's Zoom. Thank you so much. Dr. Ayla's office, all the way in Indonesia, thank you so much for being the backbone of a wonderful movement, World Women Leading Change. And with this baby you have given us, World Leadership Conference, we thank you so much and hope to meet again tomorrow as we'll be discussing the children issue. Tomorrow we're having a wellness conference where we'll be our children will be discussing issues to do with the children. And then on Saturday, we'll be having a very interesting topic. We'll be discussing fashion, as we'll be launching the Women Leading Change Fashion Creative Arts Hub. So welcome to tomorrow's conference again for the children. And Saturday we'll be having the same, discussing fashion. Thank you so much, Joy. Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you so much to our designers. And thank you for the people who have attended this conference. It was a wonderful conference and we have learned a lot. Thank you.
Yes.
Can we sing our song?
Yes, we are going to end with the song. So is it Debbie?
Yes.
Okay,
we have a
please.
song.
All right. And sorry, Alice, to just correct you, tomorrow is mental health and then Sunday is the children.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Thank you for that correction.
All right.
Our countries, everyone in the world. Love, peace, needed in this world. Tolerance, needed in this world. Forgiveness, needed in this world. Unity, needed in this world. Truth,
African woman,
leading change.
Antarctican woman, leading change. Yes, Asia, woman leading change. Yes, Australia, woman leading change. Europe, woman leading change. North America, yes, South America, woman leading change.
Fela, Kalirato,
Fela, women leading change.
Tabo Fela, women leading change. Tando Fela,
women leading change. Yes, Ayla. Yes, Ayla. Woman leading change. Yes, Indonesia. We Thank you, World Women
Women
Leading
Change.
World Women Leading Change.
Change. Hallelujah.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. The meeting is over.
Thank you, and give me that necklace you are wearing.